On the right side of your panel, there is a question box. As I go through this webinar, feel free to note down all your questions, or if you need anything explained or you want to see something else, please go ahead and document it there. At the end of the session, we will have a lot of time. We'll be able to cover all your questions and all your requirements. Hopefully you're able to see and hear me okay. I know some of our staff are on and they're able to hear me. If you do have any issues, please put that in the question section as well. Thank you very much. All right, so this is Gopi Mattel from Easy Commission. Normally we do a monthly webinar on the Easy Commission product. It basically shows the use of the application. Today, though, we're looking at more of a new feature session where we're covering some of the newer features that have been added to Easy Commission over the last few months. We do releases almost every 45 days or so, so there's a lot of improvement that is happening on a regular basis. Essentially you don't have to pay for more features or anything like that. Everything gets rolled into your use of the application right away. I noticed that we have a sort of a combination of people. Some folks have really never used the application heavily, so they may not be familiar with the basic application. So I'm going to take about 10 minutes just reviewing the basic application, and then I will jump into the specific new features that we've added that those of you who have used the application before are not familiar with. All right, so here we go. SellerStorm, the provider of Easy Commission. We also provide another product called Q Commission, and Easy Commission is sort of the simpler version of Q Commission. Q Commission does a lot more complex commission plans. We've been in business since 2000, our 12th year. We are now in San Mateo, in Chicago, as well as in India. We partner with a number of different accounting and CRM application providers, including Intuit, Microsoft, Sage, Salesforce.com, etc. What I'm going to cover is some of the basic features that are available, and then I'll also show you a quick review of this application. Okay, let's see what happened. Hopefully you guys can still see and hear me. I don't see the control panel. Okay, so from a commission feature perspective, one of the key things, of course, is a lot of flexibility, even though it needs to be pretty simple to use. We provide the ability to have unique commission plans for each salesperson in the system. So as you hire people for different roles or you negotiate different terms, you can have different plans with each person. We allow flat commissions or tiered commission rates. Tiered commission rates or changing commission rates by attainment. We pay on revenue, which is typical. We can also pay on units sold or profit. Commissions can be just a flat rate, tiered rate. It can change by products or it can change by customers. Today, on every transaction, we can allow you to split commissions 3 ways. Plus, you can do overrides to managers and territories. We also do some other things like draws, adjustments, and we'll cover a little bit of that later, and as well as the ability of a salesperson to log in and view the commission statements. We have a very important thing that sales commission applications have to do is to produce commission statements for their sales reps, and we have a very clear ability to provide that. It increases trust and reduces the number of calls you get from salespeople. We can also provide, reports by reps or summary commissions for reps for a period so that it can pass on to payroll or accounts payable. Many sales reports, many commission reports, et cetera, are available in the system, and all the reports can be exported to Excel. Some of the advanced features we offer are the QuickBooks Import. So the one accounting application we integrate with is QuickBooks today. We also do Excel integration, and we'll talk about this quota-based commission as a new feature, and multiple frequencies, and et cetera, in the new feature section. We also do leads, opportunities, and customer management, a very simple form of CRM, customer relationship management. We provide workflow, security, as well as dashboards. So those are some of the things that we will cover in the brief review, and then we'll go to the new features. I also want to point out that some of the things we don't do in the system, and that can be done by our Q-Commission application. So one of the things that some industries are involved in is the ability to calculate commissions by a job. They want to track all the expenses and all the income for a job and then calculate on the job itself. So Easy Commission doesn't do that. Q-Commission does. Today, we do not integrate into QuickBooks Online for Easy Commission. Easy Commission is not, by the way, QuickBooks Online integration will be available in the future in Easy Commission. Easy Commission is not installable on premises. It's a cloud-based application, and that won't change. Time-based commissions, which is basically, first year I want to pay at one rate, second year I want to pay at a different rate, and so on. It's possible, but we cannot determine if it's in the first or second year. Similarly for recurring commissions. There's one other type of calculation called a calculate at the time of invoice, but pay when I get paid. So that's a double calculation that Easy Commission won't do, and Q Commission will. So that just gives you a feel for what are the things we don't do that you'll have to look at Q Commission for. All right. So let me now jump into the application and give you a review of that. I want to make sure this is working. Okay, good. Okay, so what you see in front of you is the Q Commission login. As soon as you log in, you see the basic application. It's all laid out very clearly. You have some initial setup tasks we have to do, more of a one-time or infrequent task. Also, commission plans tend to be set up one time or when you hire people. And then based on your frequency of processing, which is weekly or monthly, et cetera, you go through the cycle of steps every period. And once you're done with it, you close the period and move to the next period. So that's a basic process. It's clearly laid out. Those same functions can also be available on the left side as part of the navigation. Also can be available from the top menu. So we offer a number of ways of getting into the application. We also offer guides and demos so that, if you have some doubts, you can go in and review it. So try to make this as easy as possible. So let me just briefly cover what are in these things. Commission schedule is your calendar of commission calculations. It's like a payout calendar. And so a payout calendar, like a payroll calendar, as you can imagine, is basically it tells you, for these 2-week periods or this month, I'm going to do a paycheck, and it essentially covers the hours worked during the period. This is very similar, except it covers the transactions recorded during that period. So transactions will be compared to these dates to figure out which period they fall in. And once you finish a period, you move to the next period. So when you start out, you would typically set up your fiscal year here, and then the period you're in, you will just update here and move forward. And then the system will automatically update it when you close periods. So that's what a calendar is used for. And it's a very important piece of the system. Reps are people that you calculate commissions for. They can be employees. They can be agents. They can basically be what we call active or inactive. That is, if you terminate a person, you would make them inactive. So they can still stay in the system and their data can still be there, but we won't count them for licenses because our licenses are based on reps and users. So that gives you a feel for it. I'll come back to this later. Customer data. You can go ahead and set up customer information in the system. Almost everything you see, you can manually enter. But we also provide, as I mentioned, QuickBooks as well as Excel imports. So you can set up a customer. You can put in all their demographic information, address, and so on. And you can also associate a customer with multiple reps and percentages. Now, this is optional. Just because it is there doesn't mean you have to use it. So sometimes, you don't associate reps by customers. So that's why it's optional. So that gives you customer data. We also have product information. So you can put in the products, and that means you can credit by product, or you can change commission rates by product. Or if you have costs here, you can use it in calculation so that you can find the difference between the sales and the cost and pay on the difference. So that gives you, some sense of how that can be used. Okay. And so I know I'm seeing some questions come through, so that's all very good. So at the very end, we will answer those questions together. Okay, so that gives you a feel for some of the master data. So one of the things that happens is that a lot of our customers have sales pay on either invoice, which is sort of how when they recognize revenue, or when they get paid. So you can do that either from QuickBooks. So you just click on the import, and we can integrate to QuickBooks directly, which is where your invoices and payments should reside. And we give you very clear instructions on how to get this information. The QuickBooks file can be on your desktop, and we will use the QuickBooks tools to connect to that and bring in the data into our system. But we also have Excel facilities, which we will cover later. Okay, so that data will come through, and it's going to show up in our what we call transaction screen. I'll just cover that here. So you see an invoice with this invoice ID may have multiple lines with different products and different amounts. We'll get all of that. If in QuickBooks or in your Excel you already know who the rep is or the multiple reps, we can pick it up from there directly and then use it in our calculations later. Okay, so the transaction is actually pretty robust. You can go in and see that there's a number of things possible in the transaction. Transaction ID, dates, customer product information, quantity, amount, and then at an individual line level, being able to specify reps and percentages of splits. So those are all possible. So again, we're covering the basic features of QCommission. So now I have transactions and I need to pay commissions. So when you hire a person, you would either create a brand new plan or you would copy somebody else's plan over to this new person. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through on a commission plan. So this is basically a rule-based system. So you specify the rules of how you're calculating commissions for each person. So here we have one incentive called product commission, and you can have multiple. And we're telling the system it's monthly calculation. We're telling the system that it's calculated on revenue. We're telling the system that we are looking for only transactions with Andy's name on it, who's the sales rep. And the commission rate is going to be different by product. So for paper, I want to pay at 5%. Pencil, I want to pay at 6%. So that's a sort of a simple plan, which says for Andy's transactions, pay differently by product. That's what this plan represents. And once you set this up, if you hire another person with the same plan, you can just copy it over, and maybe their rates are different, and you just change it for them. So that's how the plan works. And if you were to run the plan, which you would go in here and click on this calculate button, when you run this plan, it's going to produce a commission statement. So you would go in, and this would be a commission statement. And essentially, it will specify who the person is, what period you're calculating for, what their transactions are for which we calculated commissions, and you can see that the commission rates are changing and the commission amounts are changing. Okay, so that's what you would produce, and you can review this, and you can also, once you see this, of course, you can make the salesperson be available, and they have their own login. And I'm here logged in as a salesperson, as Andy, and you can see that my theme is different here, and my number of screens I'm seeing and options I'm seeing are different. They're fewer because it's secured so that they don't get to see everything, but they get to see their commission statement. So that provides sort of the basic ability for your salespeople to see their data only. Okay, so that's essentially the sort of the, in a nutshell, how the commission application works. Of course, there's a lot of sophistication here. If you want to get more detail, please contact me. The contact information is on the slides, and at the end you will see that again. and we can provide a special demo for you. Now, you've seen that, so let's go look. Some of you know these things, so you want to see what is new. So I'm going to cover that at this point. Okay, new features. So some of the things we've added, actually, let me make sure. Okay, here it is. Added are things like multiple frequencies, manager overrides, draw, Excel-like expressions, quota or attainment tier-based commissions, adjustments on statement, etc. So I'm going to cover some of these features in the system now. Okay, so the first thing I mentioned was different frequencies. It used to be that our commission plans could only calculate at the exact same frequency you set it up on the calendar. So if in the calendar you set monthly, commission plans are all calculating it monthly. But more recently, we allowed the ability for each and every incentive to have different frequencies. So you can either use the calendar's frequency, or you can do monthly, quarterly, annual, etc. So what that means is that you can have both a monthly commission and a quarterly bonus and an annual bonus in the same plan. So that gives you a lot of flexibility, and it's a fairly common occurrence among commission plans to do something like that. And for every incentive, you can use different rules, different things that you're calculating and pay on. So monthly you may pay on revenue, but quarterly perhaps you're counting the number of units sold. So those kinds are possible. Okay, so that's one feature that is brand new that dramatically expands the functional capability of the application. Another thing, this has been around for a little bit, but I just want to cover it because a lot of folks are not aware. We have the ability to set up draws. Draws are essentially a program you offer typically for people that are hired new. So you say, oh, you're brand new, you don't know the industry yet. So the first 3 months, we're going to make sure you make at least $3,000 a month. But it's a draw against future earnings so that, after that, you're supposed to be making more, and then we'll slowly, take that loan back from you, the thing that we advanced back from you. So then you say it's a draw, and you say recoverable because you're going to take it back, once you start performing. And you say, here's the draw amount on a monthly basis or a periodic basis, whatever the calendar period is. And then you can also tell the system how long does this draw go on. So this says it's for 6 or 7 months. Okay? You can also make it a guarantee, which is essentially a non-recoverable thing. Essentially, you're just giving the money. You're not going to take it back. So that gives you some important flexibility in your plans. Okay? So that covers frequencies and draws. Let me go look at manager overrides. So here, when you set up a rep, and you saw this briefly, when you set up a rep, you can also set up a manager that the person reports into. So you can have multiple people reporting into the same manager here. And once you have the manager, how do I calculate that manager's override for all of these people? So we have the ability to go to the commission plan, and then for the manager's plan, instead of looking for the manager's name on the transaction, we can set up a calculation. Manager override, it's also paid monthly, also paid on sales amount. But instead of looking for the name on the transaction, we're going to look for this rule. It says transactions with reps that directly report to this manager. So we will go back and look at the rep records and say, oh, those 5 people report to me, and I get credit for all of them. So in the future, you don't have to touch the plan. All you have to do is to, when you hire a rep or change their manager, just on the rep screen, change it, and it will automatically accommodate that here. Okay? So basically, that's what happens here. All right, so that covers the manager override feature, and you've seen the draw. One of the things that we can do, normally you see that commission rates, in this case, we just said 1%, okay? And, all the transactions for all the people reporting into the manager will be paid at 1%. But sometimes it's not a simple rate, and we need a sort of a more complex way of specifying the calculation. So in that case, we use this thing called a formula. And the formula, we have a number of examples here, and I will cover some of them, allows you to essentially use an Excel-like ability to specify how you should decide the commission rate. Sometimes it's just, everybody just comes up with different ways, and you really need a lot of flexibility here. So this plan says, if this formula says if the sale is $25,000 or more, then pay at 12%. If it is less than that, pay at 10%. So you essentially need an if condition. And what we have is a very small Excel type worksheet, just 5 cells, and it's completely Excel compatible. So you just put in an expression just like you would put in Excel. So we can say if sales amount is more than $25,000, it's 12%, otherwise it's 10%. So that's used as the commission rate. So every transaction gets compared. So that, again, tremendously expands your ability to add complexity to your plans. Okay? So that's how our Excel type expressions work. So let me go back and cover quotas and how quotas may work in the system. So you can specify in the system, typically, a lot of folks, especially in the smaller size, don't use quotas. But if you did, you can say there are quota goals or quotas to be attained, and you can say yes here. And the system will immediately allow you to specify the quotas by the period of the calendar you have decided. So every month, in this case, can have a different goal. And then that can be used in the calculation later on. Okay? So that's one part of it. The other part of it is, again, a type of formula where we specify, well, what happens when an attainment crosses a threshold? How do I calculate? I believe this is the one, so I'm going to go and look at this, accumulated revenue. Okay. So this gives you an example. Actually, there's another one by percentage, but I don't remember which one it is. But you can do that. Essentially, by attainment, we can say for these tiers, I want to pay at different rates. So this is possible in the system, and I think it may be in the attainment matrix. Yeah, I think this is where it is. So you basically say it's running sum, and then based on the tiered attainment, you pay commission rates. Okay? So now that gives you the ability to do this more sophisticated type of commission calculation in the system. That's pretty, straightforward in setting it up. Okay? So that's the other part. And so one other thing I wanted to cover is the idea of adjustments. You could always do adjustments in the system. So here we're saying that, for Brenda, we found that there was an error. So we need to give her another, or say we needed to take back some amount from her, $19 from her. And you would just go in and type in an adjustment here. And that now, in the new process, actually can be made available on their commission statement, so that the salesperson, when they see it, they get the complete picture of what is going on. So now we have a section called Payout Adjustments. It's going to show you the description you put in, whatever it is, and whether it's a negative or positive, it's going to show that. It's going to also show it in the Payout Adjustment and net it for you. Okay, so it's much more clearer from a viewability. Okay, so that covers a lot of the things in the first slide. So let's go see what else we have. So we have a number of feature functionality in the integrations. I just want to cover these at this point. So let's go see. Okay, so the first thing is I think you may be familiar that we could do import from QuickBooks, for a long period of time. And I wanted to perhaps reemphasize that we can do new invoices, meaning any invoices that were created in the period start and end date under consideration. That's one type of import. Or we can do paid invoices, meaning anything that got paid in that range, regardless of when it was created. We can do that as two separate things. We cannot combine the two, which Q Commission can do, but you can do, individually you have to pick one or the other in the case of Easy Commission. But we've also added the ability to export. Once we calculate the commission, you have a responsibility to pass the money to the sales rep, and typically that's done out of either payroll or accounts payable. And if you use QuickBooks, we can directly update QuickBooks with those amounts. And those amounts, it'll be a single transaction that just shows up in payroll or accounts payable. And at that point, you either do the payroll run or you just do a check run for the accounts payable. So that's another nice feature to make people that use QuickBooks, get much more value out of the system. One other thing, I cannot show it here, but we are also integrated with QuickBooks via the Intuit App Center. Basically, how that works is the QuickBooks data you have on your desktop is integrated with the Intuit App Center in the cloud, so that you can give access to that system to other users in the company. But because now the data is in the cloud, we can connect to that cloud, which is the Intuit App Center, and get data from there. And then whenever you go into the Intuit App Center, you can log in directly from there into our system. So that is also possible now using our system. One other thing we have found, as I say always, everybody does commissions differently. So, normally there's a sales rep in QuickBooks particularly, and you want to be able to calculate commissions on that. But there's also a feature called class in QuickBooks, and some companies use class as sales reps. So for that complication, we have actually added the class table in our system, and we can bring it in as part of the transactions. And then you can also decide that the commission rate is going to change by class. Okay? So that allows, the use, if you want to use class as reps, you can continue to use that. Our system will accommodate. So I'll just say class, commission rate is different by class, or, credit by class, etc. Okay? So that's another possibility here. And this is when QuickBooks Online comes along. I don't know if any of you are on QuickBooks Online, but QuickBooks Online doesn't really have sales rep features that we can access. So in that case, we notice that more people there are using class as reps, and this will be functional for QuickBooks Online customers when we release that. Okay, we also, as part of imports, allowed more types of data to be imported, more reps and customer jobs and so on. So if you're not using QuickBooks and you have data in systems outside or in Excel, we can bring it in here. Now we can also do it from CSV formats in addition to Excel. Both are possible in the system. Okay. One other thing that happens is that we've noticed that, when you have a transaction and you have master data like customers or products, systems expect that the master data are set up first, so that when we get the data, we can check for misspellings and things like that. But some people say, oh, no, I don't want to go through this additional step of setting up customers and products. It's too much work for me. So if you are to import Excel or CSV and you import just the transactions, we have the ability to automatically add the product and customer if they don't exist into our tables, so that you don't have to separately set up products or customers. Okay? So that covers, again, as you can see, we're trying to make it as easy to use with the least amount of work for you as possible. Okay, we've covered a ton of stuff. Let's go see what the next slide is going to present to us. Oh, we've got some reporting. Actually, I covered the adjustments already, so I will show you some of these other things like customizable commission statement, grouping on reports, selection criteria and reports, etc. Drill through from reports. So let's go take a look at that now. So, of course, you just saw the commission statements, and you know how it works. But some folks say, I really don't want to show the product and group and territory, and I really don't want to show profit. All those things I don't care about. I want to show only, the date, the customer, and the amount and the commission. That's all I want to show. So we've added the ability to essentially create your own version of the commission statement. So the system comes with a system statement template, and that's the default template. But you can make a copy of it using this copy button and then modify it and make that the default. And that will allow you to change a commission statement. So simply you can say what do you want to show in the headers, whether you want it bolded or you want to change the captions. What do you want to show in the, in the detail, customer, like maybe you don't call them customers, you call them clients. You can change it. You can take out some fields, etc. So this allows you some additional flexibility on the commission statement. And that's a very unique and important kind of statement. So this is a structured way of allowing you change to that statement. Okay? So that covers, we found that this was a huge benefit to lots and lots of customers. Very quickly they are trying to make it their own. And you may know that we've always had the ability in our regular edition to upload your logo and show it as part of the commission statement. All right, so we've covered that. Now let's go in and look at the ability to run reports. We have a lot of reports. We keep adding more reports as we discover more needs, and we've provided the ability to group them so that it's easier to find reports now. So you'll see all of these sort of categories of reports. So one of the things we've added recently is when you do a report, and we can do reports on two things, either tables or queries. Queries are a little bit more complex. But if you do a report on tables, now you can, the key field that you're using can be used in the drill through. In other words, you're here and you go like, okay, I see that, this is a transaction, but I want to know what went on in this transaction. So you can actually click on this, and the system knows to directly take you to that screen and that particular record so that you can browse, oh, I see what is going on here, who is getting credit for this, etc. So drill through is a very nice feature. We expect to expand it further in the future. Okay. And we also have a number of reports. I'm just going to briefly show you, one of the reports, and you can, of course, explore it at your convenience. This is what we call a crosstab report. This is going to show you reps by period. Okay? So basically, here are all your reps, and here's how much they're making by month. So you can essentially list it and then be able to export it out to Excel, for example. So just an example of one of the reports we have today. All right. So of course, you can create reports from the system. And so let me go in and look at that and show you a couple of the features that are possible now. So I can do add, and I can say, basically I can choose transactions. Okay, and maybe I want all of the transaction fields. Okay, now immediately I can run the report. So literally 2 clicks, you can get output right away and be able to export it. So 2 clicks gives you this result, but really I want to do more. So I'm going to go next, and I can change captions and so on. I can make some fields bold or word wrap, things like that. I can do that. Again, at any point you can either preview or save. I can also, select only certain fields. So I can say I want only transactions for a certain customer value. Okay, so I have only these customers, for example. So I can do that. I can also say I want to group by customer, group by product, and I want subtotals and headers. All those can be created in the system. Okay, and then I can give it a title. Okay, and then I can run the report. So very quickly, you can do all these kinds of reports in the system. So that's like a lot of additional feature functionality to make your use of it, more robust and better in the future. So one final thing I want to cover before I take questions is the fact that we had the ability to put notes in the system. So we've seen people saying, oh, I'm starting to use this heavily. I have all these notes I'm keeping in paper. Is there a way to put it into the system? So now for customer data, we can actually allow you to go in. Maybe your sales rep has access to the customer data, and they want to keep track of what's going on. And you can just start adding notes, by adding this information. It tells you the dates. You can put in, various notes about what is going on in the system with the person. And so that's another feature that we've added in the system that I think is being used heavily. So I think I have covered all the things I wanted to cover, and we will occasionally do these kind of new features webinars. Hopefully this was very helpful for you guys. And next month we have a sort of a more basic demo of how the system can be used. And of course please be free to contact me or other salespeople at these numbers, or send an email, and we're happy to get engaged with you and provide very specific demos or answers to your questions. And feel free to ask questions now. We have a lot of time, and I'm happy to answer every one of them. Okay, so there's a question: can this be integrated with Salesforce.com? And it's from Carla. Hi, Carla. How are you doing? So no, Easy Commission doesn't integrate with Salesforce.com. Our Q Commission product does. Easy Commission doesn't, and we probably won't do it because Salesforce.com is a price point where they're like the minimum license is like $65 or something, and our price point is like really low. So a lot of folks, there's just not a good fit as far as that's concerned, and we expect that smaller companies want a little bit of CRM, and they're just not able to afford Salesforce.com. So we're going to put in a little bit of CRM features in this system anyway. So probably that's not a feature this system will have, at least in the near future. Okay. Okay. Since our company pays commission on paid invoices, can Easy Commission report on outstanding invoices, unpaid invoices, as a report to the sales team? Yeah, so that's the whole thing I talked about, which is sort of a two-phased calculation. So you kind of have to calculate it on the invoices first, and then you have to sort of release the payment later. That Easy Commission cannot do. You can do only unpaid invoice and calculate right away. You can do only paid invoices. You cannot do both. Q Commission can. That's one of the differences. And the reason for that is that we want Easy Commission to be easily usable. So we really pull back on some of the really complex needs because it gets very confusing, and the customers need our help a lot to get live on the system. So we're trying to keep out some of the more complicated features. One other question: does Easy Commission support graphical charts like dashboards? Yes. That's something I should have covered better. So yeah, so let me just show you really quickly that we have the ability to create dashboards and present it. So different criteria that you want: top products, top customers, as charts, as lists of data, all those kinds of things can be created, are available in the system, and we can also create additional ones in the system. So we expect to add more and more features here. We have a number of charts, but we can put in more. And you can have one type of commission statement or a dashboard, but your sales rep can have a slightly different type of dashboard as well. So that's also possible. I don't want reps to access Easy Commission. Can I export the statements and give to them? So commission statements, you have the ability to basically send an email to them, and they can log in and see the commission statement. You can also export out the statements into physical documents, and then you can send it out yourself. Okay. Here's another question. Can Easy Commission handle chargeback? So if you put in negative transactions in the system can definitely take back commissions. We also process credit memos. So credit memos can be treated as negatives, and then commissions can be taken back. Are all these features, including dashboard, available in Q Commission? Yes. All these features, including dashboards, are available in Q Commission, in the Q Commission Premier Edition, because that's the one that has a web portal. Yes. Q Commission is definitely much, much more sophisticated, but because of the sophistication, it requires us to be engaged with you to get that implemented. QCommission also does Salesforce, Great Plains integrations. It does a ton of different types of commission plans. All kinds of different things are possible there. How do you give a rep access to the system? Very good. So it's pretty simple. So you calculate the commissions, for the reps. You don't have to give access to them. Some folks want to calculate, but they never want to give access to their reps. So you don't have to do that. But if you want to do it, you just go in and say notify. And that will send a link to the rep, which they can use to log in, and then that becomes their login information. Okay? So you do this when you're ready. So normally, in the beginning for a month or two, our customers want to calculate by themselves, make sure everything is okay. Then they feel comfortable, and then they say notify so that the reps can start seeing themselves. Okay. Really good questions. Can reps see their commission statements online anytime? Yes. Once you've given them access, they can see their commission statements at any time. Also historical statements. Anything that's in the system that they have already seen, they want to go back and research, they can just go in and look at it right away. Okay, so again, a lot less questions because they have full access and they build up a lot of trust in the system, in your calculations, etc. Okay. Yes, yeah. So the question is, does it support history of commissions paid? Yeah, you'll see all the history in the system. All the transactions we process, all the calculations, everything will be there in the system. Very good. A lot of good questions, and so we're definitely happy to answer all your questions. We find that every company has commissions that are different. Every industry has it differently. Every company has it differently. We find that a little bit of engagement with us, it does help save you time in figuring out the answers. So that's why we do these webinars, so that some of these questions can be answered up front. Another question has to do with, can Easy Commission handle profit-based calculations? So as I mentioned earlier, we don't do job profit-based commissions, but we do basic sort of standard profit, which is basically the revenue minus the unit cost. So if in QuickBooks you have an item and a cost, we can actually bring it in and find the difference, and then we will know the profit and calculate. But if your cost is in a bill, meaning you bought it and you want to use that cost, Easy Commission won't do that. QCommission will. Great. Wonderful. Feel free to ask more questions. We'll just hang out for a while. Again, you all know me by now, so feel free to just send me an email, to this email address. We're happy to engage and show you Easy Commission or QCommission or whatever makes the most sense to you. Our pricing information is on the website. For Easy Commission, we provide 2 hours of free service. Maybe I'll just review that with you guys right now, since that may be useful. So editions and pricing information is right here. We have 2 editions, basically economy and regular. The key difference is that regular has QuickBooks integration, plus some of the advanced features like security and all that other stuff, whereas basic doesn't have that. We license by number of payees, sales reps and users. And the pricing has a significant volume discounting. So right away, like after 5 licenses, you immediately get a 10% discount. And for every 20 licenses almost thereafter, up to 100, you're getting another 10%. So it gets to be pretty inexpensive when you get into volume. And that's really the point, is that we have a number of people that have a lot of salespeople, but they're not paying them a lot of commissions, and they don't want to spend a lot of money on this. So we want to provide a lot of feature functionality without any service. We actually provide 2 hours of service free, which is a $260 value when you subscribe. But the price point is very, very good, given all the features I just showed you guys. When you engage, you don't even if you have like 100 salespeople, you don't have to subscribe for all 100. you could go with the minimum, which is just 5 for a single quarter. And that's like about $60. And then you can try it out. You get our 2 free hours of service, verify everything works. Then once you feel comfortable, then you subscribe. So the risk, we try to eliminate as much risk as possible, still having some skin in the game for, from your side to make this work for you guys. Okay? So hopefully that you find as an attractive thing for us to do. Okay, very good. So I think we've covered everything, and it doesn't look like we have a lot of questions left. Again, I'm hoping to hear from you guys, and thank you for being here today with me and participating and learning more about our application functionalities today. Okay, appreciate your time.